What's up, folks? Come on in. What's up, folks? We're going to give you a second to come in. Hello to our live audience, and you may be catching the replay of our Leadership Fireside. So if that is you, you didn't get a chance to hang out with us during our time together, well, I want to welcome you as well. For our live audience, we'll give you just a second to come on in. I am excited about our conversation tonight. We had an amazing time last week sharing. As you all know, I don't really come on live a lot, but it's something that I'm starting to, I guess, do a little more often. Let me see here. Okay, I don't need to do that actually, so we're good. I see my guy William is on. Hey, Will, love you, man. I will pick with you after this. Deshaun, I see you coming in. Listen, if you're coming in, if you will, please say hello. Let me know where you're coming in from, and we're going to have a great conversation. Last week, we went live just to have a conversation about leadership. I felt a little bit of inspiration, if you will, and we had an amazing time. And so I said to myself that it's something that I'm going to try to do a little more often. So we're here tonight to go deeper in our leadership conversation. If you know me, you know that I have a passion for leadership and for developing leaders. And I want to do all that I can to add value to leaders. So as you're coming in, please say hello. I'm looking forward. Ty Wilson, I haven't talked to you in a minute. I love you. It's good to see you on here. Hit me up soon. Let's talk. As you're coming in, do me a favor, if you will, definitely say hello, but I also want you to like and to share, because we're going to have a great conversation around leadership today. Again, my goal, and one of my goals, I was just talking to a couple of people that I'm raising and mentoring and training. Pastor Oliver, good to see you, man. Love you. That I have found one of my sweet spots, and it is training and developing leaders. And so tonight we're going to have some conversation, and I'm going to do my best to add value to you. If you know someone who's looking to grow in their leadership, I'm going to ask that you tag just a couple of people and share this with them, because I believe that there's going to be some great value adds today. All right. So let's jump in. Hey, before we get in, if you are in the Richmond, Virginia area, I want to remind you that Live to Lead RVA is coming. Every year, my friend and mentor, John Maxwell, he hosts Live to Lead. It is a day of leadership and professional development. It's really a leadership and professional development experience. Okay. And we have some amazing speakers. I'm sure you all have seen me talk about it, but if you're in the area, I want you definitely to come be a part, because you will not be the same. All right. I want to get a couple more people in here before we jump in, because listen, I've got some great stuff for you today. I've got some good content. So if you haven't shared, make sure you do it. Tell some people that we are on and we're having an amazing conversation about leadership. How y'all doing today? Y'all all right? So Pastor Oliver, man, Pastor Oliver, I haven't seen you since, I guess, Anon, right? But it's good to see you, man. I hope that you are doing well. All right, let's jump in. I want to talk a little bit about leadership, and my specific conversation for leadership tonight is an interesting angle for leadership. Tonight, I want to talk to leaders, and I want to add value to leaders who, let's say, you know what, I'm a leader, but I don't really have a path. I don't really have a blueprint. And one of the things that I think is interesting, Jay, I love you, man. One of the things that I think is interesting about leadership, you like these lines. One of the things that I think is interesting about leadership is when we only discover leadership through experience and not through a plan. I'm not against experience, but when you don't have a plan, I have found that it has done more detriment than good. Think about it. Imagine if the pilot, Cameron, pastor, prophet, evangelist, you're pastoring now, Pastor Cameron, all the way from Bahamas. Love you, man. Good to see you. Imagine if the pilot that was flying your plane only learns through experience. I love you, Jay. Imagine if the pilot who was flying your plane only learns through experience and never has an opportunity to be mentored, coached, and developed. They may get it, but it may come with a lot more casualties. And what we have seen when it comes to leadership, we are experiencing many casualties because people don't have a plan for leadership. You know, this past Sunday, I am also, outside of a leadership speaker, coach, and trainer, I'm also a faith leader. And this past Sunday, I was at my father's church directing the choir. Now, y'all, I have not directed the choir in years, and my arms and my hands and my body still feels it, but it really happened, y'all. I directed the choir and I led praise and worship. But as I was directing the choir and as I was sitting in that moment, I began to be overwhelmed with emotion because that's where my leadership journey started. My leadership journey started at my father's church when he gave me an assignment to lead the choir and to lead the youth ministry. He took a chance on me. Praise God that he did. But y'all, I didn't know the first thing about leadership. I was young. I had traveled and done some things in music. At some point, I had traveled with some artists. Kevin Chestnut, good to see you, man. I had traveled with some artists and different things like that. AJ, I love you. I had traveled with some artists, and so because I had done these things, I felt like I understood leadership, but I didn't. I had a skill, barely, but I had no leadership skills. And so what consequently began to happen, I began to damage the people. At Misha, I love you. I began to damage people and systems because I didn't have a path and a plan for leadership. And so I have a specific passion, if you will, and a burden for leaders who are leading, but they've never been given a path or a plan. And so tonight I'm going to do an introductory, what I call a leadership 101 teaching with you that's going to literally help you grow your leadership. I'm going to give you about 4 principles. Now, I need you to like and share because this is good content, all right? I'm going to give you about 4 principles tonight that if you can implement these particular 4 principles for the next 3 to 6 months, you are going to see a scalable difference in your leadership. If that's you, if you're looking for growth, I want you to put in the comments, I want to grow. If that's you, I want you to type that in the comments, I want to grow. I believe that we all want to grow in our leadership journey. Type that in, I want to grow. I'm going to give you 4 things that if you focus on these particular 4 things, you will grow as a leader. I have used these 4 things, okay? I have had people pay for this particular information I'm going to give you, but I use this particular method for myself, and I coach and train leaders in multiple industries with these same principles. Consequently, let me just pause and say, if you are a leader or an emerging leader in any industry and you are looking for a coach, I would love to be your coach, and I would love to come alongside you for your journey. My job is to come alongside of you and help you discover what's already in you, because many times you already have what it takes. You need a coach to unlock what's already there. So if that's you, you can send us an email. I'm sure they'll post it in the chat at office@thewhiteheadgroup.co, and I'd love to be your coach. But let me give you these 4 things. To be a great leader, the first thing that you're going to want to do, if you're going to be a great leader, the first thing, Marvin and Shantae Moore, we love you. So good to have you on tonight. The first thing that you're going to want to do to be a great leader, number 1, I want you to type it in the chat, is grow your character. Somebody type that in the chat. Grow your character. Here's why growing your character is so important as a leader, because your leadership will flow out of the river of who you are. There will never be a moment where you will be able to lead beyond the river or capacity of who you are. You will never lead beyond the core of who you are. If you're going to be a strong leader, you are going to have to grow your character. And can I be honest with you? We are literally looking at a leadership crisis in America and beyond, in every industry, in every mountain. Why? Because people are leading, but they haven't given enough time and they haven't given enough insight to continually growing and building our character. Again, why? Because you will only lead out of the river of who you are. So number one, if I'm going to be a strong leader, I've got to be willing to invest into growing my character. What is my character? What is character? Character then is the essence of who you are. Simple as that. You have to grow the internal essence of who you are. Now, I teach this particular principle when I'm teaching and coaching around mindset, but I think it translates here. I teach this principle that your belief system governs what you think, what you say, and what you do. One more time. Your belief system governs what you think, what you say, Jazz, I love you, and what you do. Your belief system governs what you think, what you say, and what you do. So if I don't work on building a healthy internal belief system or operating system, then everything that I think, say, and do will function less than the level or the standard that is what we call good character. So number one, if I'm going to be a leader, I've got to grow my character. What is character? Character then is the essence of who you are. Again, we're talking about tonight 4 things that you need to grow your leadership. And if you can focus on these 3 things, the doctor himself, Dr. Earl, I love you, man. If you can focus on these 4 things when it comes to growing your leadership, within 3 to 6 months, you will see a scalable difference in your leadership. Number one, you got to grow your character. So then, how do I grow my character? That becomes the question. How do I grow my character as a leader? I grow my character by creating what I call convictions, core values, or non-negotiables for my life. If I'm going to grow my character, I've got to build some non-negotiables for my life. That's the first part of leadership. So I'm going to give you an idea of what that sounds like. I'm going to bring you all into my world as a leader. And I'm going to share with you the non-negotiables that I've built for my life. Now, I don't talk about this publicly with a lot of people. I talk about it. And Dr. K, I love you. It's so good to see you tonight. I miss you. And I actually have a question for you. I'm going to hit you up. Y'all, that's my therapist. I have a therapist. She's my big sister too, but that's my therapist. But if I'm going to be a leader, I've got to grow my character. And I grow my character by creating convictions or non-negotiables for my life. Now, I'm going to tell you how I created my core values and my convictions. I created these in a season where I was broken as a person, as a father, as a leader. And because my life was broken, I was at a crossroads and I had to decide who I wanted to be as an individual. And I needed something to anchor me in my character. And so to anchor me in my character, I created some non-negotiables for my life. What does that mean? That you will never see me functioning outside of the parameters of the non-negotiables for my life, because this is what's going to produce the life that I want. We'll come back to there. So here are my non-negotiables, all right? My non-negotiables, my convictions. Number one, for me, it's always honor and serve God. Again, many of you may know I'm a faith leader. My goal is not to infringe my faith upon you. I just want to talk to you about what I use as I'm building my character as a leader. Again, if you can do these 4 things, you are going to find that in the next 3 to 6 months, your leadership lens and your lid is going to be dramatically increased. My core values, my convictions. Number one, always honor and serve God. Number 2, this is for me, always honor, serve, protect, and be faithful to your family. This is me. These are my non-negotiables for my life. I do my best every single day, every single moment of my life to not live outside of these boundaries and parameters. Number 2, always honor, serve, and protect my family. Here's number 3. Here's my core value. Always handle money well. That's important for me. As a leader, as a man, it's important for me to always handle money well. Here's the next one. Always commit to a life of humility, service, and leadership. Commit to a life of humility, service, and leadership. Essie, I love you. These are the core values and the convictions, the non-negotiables that, hey, Eric, that have shaped my life as I'm growing my character to be a better leader. Next one, commit to a life of high integrity and morale. And then my last one is to be healthy. These are the non-negotiables that I've built for my life, so that as I'm growing my character, it keeps me anchored in something that matters. Now, I was doing some one-on-one trainer with one of the emerging leaders that I'm coaching, and this person is they're probably on, I'm sure they're on, a phenomenal leader. Their leadership potential, even what they demonstrate now concerning leadership, beyond even what they know, they are an amazing, amazing leader. I was talking to them about this particular principle of growing your character and building these non-negotiables. And one of the questions that the person asked me, they said, well, how do you build your list? Where do you pull these principles, these convictions, and these core values from? Where in you do you pull them from? Where do you pull them from? And it was an amazing question. It was just an amazing question. How do you build your core values? I'm teaching you that you've got to grow your character, build them. How do you build them? For me, this is what informed my core values. Number one, my faith. Again, I'm a faith leader. I'm a man of faith. I'm a person of faith. And so my faith informed my core values. Here's the second thing that informed my core values. I asked myself this question, and this is what I told to the person that I was coaching. I said, as you're building your core values, ask yourself this question. At the end of your life, when it's all said and done, after the life that you lived, what do you want it to be said about you? Hey, Cameron, at the end of your life, what do you want to be said about you? At the end of your life, what do you want to be remembered by? At the end of your life, what is going to make you feel like you did a good job? That's how you begin to build your convictions and your core values. I was telling someone else, another person that I'm coaching, I said, don't build your core values based upon today. Build your core values based upon the end. Because today will change. But if you build your core values based upon the end result, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be remembered by at the end of my life? That doesn't change. So that's how I build my core values today. I build for my future. I build my character and my core values through my future. Okay. We've talked enough about that. I got to move on. So number one, if you want to be a leader, the first thing that you want to do is grow your character. One more time, somebody put that in the chat. Grow your character. Number two, listen, if you haven't shared this, we're having a great time. Make sure you share this. Specifically, I want you to tag people that you believe in that are leaders. Tag them and tell them I believe in you. And I want you to hear this, okay? Number two, if you're going to be a great leader, you have to hone your skills. Number two, if you want to be a great leader, you have to hone your skills. Now, all leaders must have certain skills that accompany your journey. Pastor Chris, I love you. All leaders must have certain skills that accompany their journey. So I'm going to give you a couple of skills that I want you to begin to continue to hone and to grow if you're going to be a strong leader. There could be some other skills that may be germane to your certain industry or where you serve or where you lead, but I'm going to give you just a few main ones. This is not an exhaustive list, but just a few. Again, my goal is to help impact the next 3 to 6 months of your life. If you're sitting on here having a conversation with me tonight, my goal is to influence and impact the next 3 to 6 months of your life. That's what I do as a leadership coach. When I spend time with people, we don't necessarily have a million sessions. I build them really strategically, and then if they need more, we'll do more. But my goal is to impact the next 3 to 6 months of your life, that if you can follow these 4 principles, it's going to cause a scalable difference in your leadership lead. Number one, grow your character. Number two, hone your skills. All leaders, okay? All leaders must have, is that Apostle DeAndre? Okay, man, all leaders must have certain skills that accompany their leadership. Here's some skills that you want to hone. Number one, your communication. You want to hone your communication as a leader. Now, when we talk about communication, communication is layered. Because communication could be public speaking, but it can also be email. So you don't want to just master your public speaking, but send poor emails or poor text messages. It could also be inspiring vision. As a leader, you're going to have to communicate vision. It can also be releasing clarion calls or call to action. So these are different layers of communication that all require different tools and accoutrements in order to work them and make them successful and make them do what you need them to do. So communication is layered. It can be email. It can be public speaking. It can be a call to action. It can just be transmitting information. It could be vision. It could also be having hard conversations. G-Dub, I love you, man. It could also be having hard conversations, because as a leader, you're going to be tasked with having hard conversations. It could be crises or contention within the team that you lead. It could be a development opportunity for somebody that you're leading. But if that be the case, a part of what you're going to have to do as a leader is to master communication, where sometimes it's going to be vision, sometimes it's going to be email, sometimes it's going to be hard conversations. But you also, as a leader, you must learn and master how to communicate when it comes to inspiration. Because if you are a leader, you are going to find that there are going to be moments where your team may not hit the goal, or there are going to be moments where your team may be upset. Why? Because they didn't do, I love you, man, because they didn't do, maybe they didn't perform the way that they were planning to perform. Maybe they didn't hit a metric, a key performance indicator, and your team is going to feel that. So as a leader, you have to learn also how to communicate inspiration you have to speak them out of a rut. You've got to communicate them out of a valley. You've got to communicate them out of a low place. So that's another level of communication that you're going to want to have to master, okay? Here's one key for you. I'll give you this one for free. If you want to work on your communication, join the local Toastmasters class. You can join the local Toastmasters class. So communication is one of the skills you want to improve. Here's another one, administration. You must be a great administrator as a leader. You want to make sure you have systems in place and that you are detail oriented, because leaders have to have the ability to see the big picture, but also when necessary, hone in on the minute details that's keeping the big picture afloat. Now, yes, you have a team, and yes, you may have an administrator, but it doesn't dismiss the fact that you are going to have to grow your administration skills as a leader, okay? Here's the next one. I got to move quickly. So number one, hone your skills, all right? I've given you two. Grow your character, hone your skills. Here's another skill, communication, administration. You also want to grow, here's another skill, your emotional intelligence. Grow your emotional intelligence. Now, listen, I said this last week when we were talking about leadership. I said, I believe that if you are watching this, if you are hanging out with me tonight, just like last week, I believe it's because you are about to come into your dopest days of influence. You're about to come into your greatest days of influence. I told you that leadership is influence, right? And I believe that I'm burdened. Because again, I don't go live a lot. I'll probably do it a little more often, but I believe that I've been burdened to have this conversation to add value to leaders, because you're about to come into your greatest day of influence. Hey, if you believe that, I dare you to put that in the chat. I'm coming into my greatest days of influence. If you're going to do that, here is the next skill. You're going to have to grow your skill of emotional intelligence. See, most people believe that your intelligent quotient is the number one indicator of success. But however, Daniel Goleman does his research, and he wrote an amazing book on emotional intelligence. And we have found that it is not IQ that is the number one contributing asset to success. It is EQ. I want you to get what I just said. Your emotional intelligence is the number one factor of your success. Erica, I love you. Pastor Erica, you're my sister. But Pastor Erica, I love you. Your emotional intelligence is the number one indicator or number one factor of your success. I need you to get that principle. This is a researched principle that if you are going to be successful as a leader, you've got to develop the skill, because emotional intelligence is a skill that you can develop. You got to grow your skill when it comes to emotional intelligence. Now, what is emotional intelligence? This is a 4-part quadrant. Y'all, share this, y'all. I'm giving y'all a whole masterclass tonight. Share this live. Tag some more leaders that you believe in, because this is gold, okay? Our 4-part quadrant for emotional intelligence, okay? Thank you, Jazz, for posting that. Our 4-part quadrant for emotional intelligence. Number one, you must have self-awareness. If you're going to be astute in your emotional intelligence, you must have self-awareness and you must have self-management. You can't just be aware. You've got to manage the awareness that you have. It's like saying, I have a horrible attitude. Well, you're aware of it, but can you manage it? Can you do something about it? Can you do it better? So the first part of this, you must have, that's right, you're coming into your greatest days of influence. So the first part of this, you must have great self-awareness and self-management. The second part, you need great relational awareness and relational management. You got to learn how you impact people and how you engage with people relationally. Are you strong or are you not so strong? Again, emotional intelligence is a skill that can be developed. And so we're talking about under this, you got to hone your skill. Again, y'all, listen, these 4 principles, I have coached leaders around the world in multiple industries, marketplace, ministry, finance, you name it, sports, education. I've coached leaders with these 4 principles around the world. And I'm telling you, in 3 to 6 months, you can see an absolute difference in your leadership if you just grab these 4 and you commit to it and do some work. But you got to commit and you got to do the work. That's what I want to see you do. I am after the next 3 to 6 months of your life. I am after right now the next 3 to 6 months of your life. That's what I'm after. Okay, here's the last skill that I'm going to give you, and then we're going to jump into the last 2. You must develop the skill of building teams. If you're going to be a great leader, you must develop the skill of building teams. You've got to develop strong teams. Why? Because the leader can't do everything his or herself. You've got to be able to effectively delegate for a few reasons. Number one, as you delegate tasks, you step into a higher level leadership, which is people development. If you are not developing people as a leader, then you have areas to grow in your leadership. One of the indicators or markers of great leadership is that you have the ability to develop people to do what you do. You have to grow people to do what you do, okay? 3 principles. Y'all, I'm giving y'all a whole master class tonight. 3 principles for developing teams. Number 1, every team, if they're going to be successful, must have a level of covenant. They must be bonded together by the vision. Successful teams need to operate from the space of covenant, relationship, that I am here, and just because I get offended tomorrow, I can't leave the team because we're here, we're bonded by family and vision. When I build teams, I build families. I don't care if it's in ministry, it's in marketplace, it's in an organization, it's in a company. If you are a part of my team, you have become my family. Which means you don't get to walk out when we're having a bad day. Family, okay? So teams need to be built by covenant. Number 2, chemistry. Put people on your team that's willing to work well together. You can't, if you're going to build a successful team that's going to hit goals, it's going to hit numbers, it's going to accomplish tasks, you can't staff your team with people who are not willing to work with others. Or who are willing to be consistently difficult. You cannot thrive with people on your team that are willing to be consistently difficult. You've got to have people on your team. Come on. You've got to have people on your team who are willing to say, you know what? I am going to learn how to work with people that don't think like me. I'm going to learn how to work with people that have different approaches than me. I'm going to learn how to work with people that have different backgrounds. If your team does not have a level of chemistry, you will never produce results. So if you're going to build, as a leader, you're going to build strong teams. Number 1, you got to have covenant. Number 2, you have chemistry. Number 3, capacity. All right? Covenant, chemistry, capacity. You've got to grow as a leader the skill and the capacity of your team. You got to help them do what they do better. What they do better, okay? All right, so number 1, if I'm going to be a strong leader, I've got to grow my character. Number 2, I've got to hone my skills. Number 3, I only have 4, but I promise you again, if you can work these principles, if you can work these 4, what did I tell you I'm after? The next 3 to 6 months of your life. I am after the next 3 to 6 months of your life. Prophet Anthony, good to see you, man. Here's number 3. You've got to learn how to solve problems. If you're going to be a great leader, learn how to solve problems. If you're going to be a great leader, learn how to solve problems, because one of the main jobs of leadership, believe it or not, is solving problems. Every problem in the planet needs a leadership solution. I want you to think about that. Every problem in the planet needs a leadership solution. Why? My mentor, John Maxwell, teaches this, that everything rises and falls on leadership. You can assess any problem, whether it's in a family, whether it's in your internal self, whether it's in a family, whether it's in a city, a nation, an organization, or a ministry. If there's a problem, there is a leadership issue that needs to be addressed. Every problem is interrupted by great leadership. Get that? Every problem is interrupted by great leadership. So you're going to have to learn how to solve problems. How do I solve problems? Here are some superpowers that I've got to tap into, and I'm going to teach you how to do that tonight. Creativity. Not just creativity, you got to tap into innovation. What is innovation? Innovation is not changing the thing, it's looking at a thing from a different lens and making a thing better. You've got to, if you're going to solve problems, you got to do it based on creativity, innovation, or ingenuity. What is ingenuity? Ingenuity is when you're looking at a brick wall and you don't know what to do to get around it, and you got to create a solution out of nothing. That's not innovation. Innovation, you're looking at something and you're making it better. Ingenuity says that I am sitting around an insurmountable issue, and I've got to use my skill power, my mindset, my mentality, my fortitude, my intelligence to create something out of nothing. Leaders are inspired. They are wired, if you will. Leaders are wired to create something out of nothing. It's ingenuity. Critical thinking, strategy, okay? One of my favorite books, here's another book that I highly recommend. It's called The Art of War by Sun Tzu, T-Z-U. The Art of War. It's a great book. If you are a leader, I absolutely recommend you getting this book. Sun Tzu, he talks about the art of war, and it's literally talking about nations who are going to war, and it gives principles, but you can use these principles in your leadership journey. He says this about the importance of strategy, because that's how you solve problems with strategy. Sun Tzu, he says that the successful warfare, because it's about war, the art of war, relies on careful planning and strategic thinking. Victory is not merely the result of the superior forces. It requires understanding the terrain, timing, the strengths and weaknesses of both sides. You hear that? Effective strategy can lead to victory without the need for prolonged conflict. When I have a good strategy, it shortens the window of the conflict. Maybe some of the crises and conflicts and contentions that we are dealing with in our leadership spaces because we haven't found the right strategy to shorten the time. Because strategy shortens windows of contention and chaos. Okay? So if you're going to be a leader that learns how to solve problems, here's what you got to do. You've got to learn how to curate before you criticize. If you are a critical leader, you will never be successful at solving problems. As opposed to criticizing, learn to create. Come on, leaders. One of the things I do not like in my leadership spaces are people who are overly critical. As opposed to being critical, tap into creativity, innovation, strategy, critical thinking, and curate the answer. We've got to activate, here's what I call it, we've got to activate mental momentum. This is how you solve problems as leaders. We've got to activate what I call mental momentum. Somebody put that in the chat. Activate, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. Y'all, again, this is a whole master class. I want you to share it. We've got to activate mental momentum, and we're almost done. I only have 4, and I'm on 3. How do I activate mental momentum? It's by asking myself certain questions. Leaders learn to solve problems. That's what we're talking about. Leaders must learn how to solve problems. If I'm going to learn to solve problems, I've got to activate mental momentum. I've got to activate mental momentum. All right, here's what it is. These are the questions you want to ask yourself to activate mental momentum. Number 1, when you're looking at a problem, ask yourself, what is here that I'm not seeing? First question. Activate mental momentum. What is here that I'm not seeing? As you're looking at the problem, because leaders solve problems, what's right in front of me that I'm not seeing? And when you ask yourself, your brain will automatically start looking at the thing that it hasn't seen. Number 1, what's here that I'm not seeing? Number 2, what should be here that's not here? So what's here that I'm not seeing? What needs to be here that I'm not aware of? So what should be here in this problem, in this scenario, that's not here? Okay? Last question. Ask yourself this. What's the answer? What's the better answer? And then what's the other answer? You're training yourself to always find the answer. John Maxwell says this to us. He says, there's an answer, there's a better answer, and there's always more than one answer. So if I'm going to activate mental momentum, I'm going to ask myself, what's the answer? What's the better answer? And what's the other answer? What's the answer? What's the better answer? And what's the other answer? Because I'm activating mental momentum so I can learn how to solve problems. All right, we're getting out of here. We're on the last one. Again, listen, I'm after the next 3 to 6 months of your life. And I believe that this live can do that. But I also believe, going deeper than that, that you might need a coach to come alongside you in your journey. Here's what I do for a living. That's my passion and my burden. I train and I coach leaders. That's what I do. That is a sweet spot of mine. It's a passion of mine. And you might hear this and say, you know what? I need some deeper conversations and coaching. They'll post my email address and our website and all that to tell you a little bit more about our firm and what we offer, the Whitehead Group. But it's office@thewhiteheadgroup.co. I'd love to be your coach if that's you. Last one. So number 1, I'm going to be a great leader. Number 1, I've got to grow my character. Number 2, I've got to hone my skill. And I gave you a list of skills that we talked about there. If you weren't on for that, you want to go back. Number 3, you've got to learn to solve problems. Number 4, and I'm getting out of here and I'm going to find me something to eat. You got to value people. You've got to value people. I can harp, for lack of better terms, on valuing people all day. Because your greatest commodity will always be your people resource. It'll never be money. It'll never be things, material things. Your greatest commodity will always be your people resource. And one of the challenges that I see across the board when it comes to leaders is that people are invested in projects, but they are not invested in people. Leaders are invested in projects, but they are not invested in people. If you are going to be a great leader, just because you grow your skill, just because you learn how to solve problems, if you do not, as an individual, learn how to value people, maybe I should say it differently, value all people, you will never excel in your leadership journey. Again, I told you this, I am a faith leader. I'm a man of faith. And this is how, so I can only coach you through who I am, right? So my goal is not to influence or infringe my faith upon you. I've just got to tell you how I've gotten to the point of successful leadership. There's a principle in my world, in my faith, called Imago Dei. And what that literally means is the image of God. And it says that all of humanity was created in the imago Dei and in the image of God. So that means whether I know you personally or not, I can meet you and value you because you are made in the imago Dei, the image of God. I don't have to know you personally. I don't have to know your story. I don't have to determine that I like you, that we have mutual interest. Because you were created in the imago Dei, I've got to learn how to value you even above myself. A leadership crisis and pain point, again, that I have seen, that I've watched daily, is that leaders they value production, they value results, they value projects, but we miss it when it comes to valuing people. But how you treat people says everything about your leadership. Sit with that. I told you I can harp on this. How you treat people, how you handle people. And I told you I was coaching. I just did a coaching with a couple of leaders that I'm training right before this session. And we kind of started talking about this principle a little bit. And I said this statement that another problem that we have when it comes to valuing people is that many leaders don't value themselves. And you will only treat people based upon the value that you placed on yourself. You either think too highly or too low. Whichever side it is on the pendulum, you begin to treat people out of the broken value that you have for yourself. But you've got to know that you were made in that same imago Dei. All right? So you got to value people. Y'all hear me. Death to abusive leadership. Death to abusive leadership. We can no longer, hear my heart, I'm going to be your coach for a minute. I would love to be your coach. Right now, I'm Coach Dwayne. Catch it. We can no longer use our titles and our insecurities and our pride and our leadership, because when it all comes to the head, it comes out in how we treat people. Death to abusive leadership. It's going to come out in how we treat people. If you are going to be a great leader, we're getting out of here. Number one, if you're just getting on, I want you to go back and listen to this. We had a whole masterclass tonight, y'all. If you're going to be a great leader, I gave 4 things tonight. Number one, you've got to grow your character. And I talked to you about that through the lens of building some non-negotiables for your life. I shared mine. Number 2, you got to hone your skill. I gave you a list of skills to kind of start your journey. Number 3, you've got to learn how to solve problems. Number 4, you've got to value people. You've got to value people. Again, my goal is the next 3 to 6 months of your life. If you can focus on these 4 things for the next 3 to 6 months, you are going to see such a scalable difference in your leadership lid. You are going to find that you are influencing people on a greater level. Grow your character, hone your skill, learn to solve problems, and value people. Here's our last one. I love mantras. My mentor, John, gave me this mantra, and I share it with everybody. This is our last mantra. We're talking about valuing people. I want you to say it. I am a person of value that values others and adds value to others. I want you to live by that mantra. I am a person of value. Somebody type it. I am a person of value that values others and adds value to others. If you can do that, you are well on your way to being a high-level, successful, transformative leadership. All right? I'm a person of value. I love that, Monique. I love that. I'm a person of value that values others and adds value to others. Got to value people. Hey, listen, I'm getting out of here. Again, if you don't know me, I think there's some people on that I've never met before. If I haven't met you, again, my name is Dr. Dwayne. It's been a privilege to hang out with you. I lead a company called the Whitehead Group. It's a leadership and professional development firm where we focus on speaking, coaching, and training for the purpose of transforming lives through the power of leadership. And hey, listen, you might have heard this tonight. You're like, yo, this is all right. And I might need a coach for the next leg of my journey. I coach leaders, and I'm passionate about coaching and training leaders. I do it regularly. I do it for people in all industries, and you might need a coach to come alongside you in your journey. They will. My sister just told me, "Nice to meet me." I love you, Jelana. You might need a coach, a leadership coach for your journey, for the next level, for the next leg of your race, of your call. You can shoot us. They just posted my email. Thank you again, Jazz. But this is what we do. My company is powered by John Maxwell, the number one, I love saying this, leadership guru in the world, who happens to be my mentor that I've been trained and mentored by. But hey, if you heard this and you say, you know what, I am committed to the next 3 to 6 months of my life for my leadership journey and my leadership growth, I would love to be your coach. I would love to be your coach. Lastly, if you are in Richmond, Virginia, on October 5th, John Maxwell, every year he hosts Live to Lead, which is a leadership and professional development experience. Well, this year we're hosting it, and it's coming to RVA, and it is going to be absolutely amazing. Tickets have been selling, and the room is almost sold out. So if you're one of those, like, I'm thinking about coming, but I'm gonna wait till the last minute, don't do that, okay? Because tickets are almost sold out. And you are going to hear from world-class speakers. I got a chance to, my wife and I, hear the speakers and take pictures and talk to some of them, and it is going to be a phenomenal day. And if you are interested in growing your leadership, you want to be in the room. They just posted the information to register for Live to Lead. I'm telling you, it is going to change your world. I am committed to training, raising, and impacting as many leaders as I possibly can so that we can heal humanity and that we can change the world. I love y'all. Have an amazing night, and I will see you next time. Peace.